beloved, chosen one. Your soul was drawn to this sacred moment by a divine whisper, a heavenly call from God Himself igniting your spirit with unshakable purpose. That radiant 000 glowing on the thumbnail seized your attention, didn't it? In the Christian faith, 000 symbolizes God's infinite presence and the divine reset reflecting His eternal power to renew and mark you for a holy mission. This isn't a random encounter, it's a celestial summons orchestrated by the Creator to deliver your final instructions. You're not ordinary. You're a chosen soul marked by angels for a destiny that will echo through eternity. Why are you here right now? Is your heart stirring, sensing the angels aligning your path for a divine breakthrough? This video unveils a profound truth. The angels have marked you and your final instructions are being released now. Stay with me until the end, for your spirit is ready to receive this heavenly message. Hit the like button, subscribe to join our global family of chosen souls, and comment 000 below with your city or country to proclaim your readiness for God's plan. Let's embrace the divine instructions awaiting you today. And now comes the tension, because with the mark comes the weight. The mark brings responsibility, warfare, but also glory. Romans chapter 8 verse 18 affirms, "For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed to us." You are standing on the edge of that glory. This is a divine setup. The angels didn't just mark you, they're moving with you. The assignments you thought were denied are being rearranged. The people who walked away had to because they couldn't handle your oil. Your presence is about to go places. Your name hasn't even been spoken yet, and you are not alone. The same angels that marked you are marching with you. You are not going into battle uncovered, not stepping into purpose alone. The host of heaven backs you. You have spiritual reinforcement. The reason some things didn't crush you is because angels caught you. Let every demon hear this. You are rising, returning, remembering who you are. You were never meant to be hidden forever. The hiding season is over. Now begins the unveiling, the emergence, the revealing of the marked one. All of creation has been groaning, waiting for this moment. Romans chapter 8 verse 22 confirms, "We know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to the present time." This is not about fame. It's about fire. It's not about being seen. It's about being sent. Heaven is sending you now. The signal has been given. The trumpet sounded, the realm of angels activated around your life. Beloved, chosen one, the only thing standing between you and destiny is agreement. Will you say yes? Will you surrender to the blueprint written before time began? Comment, "I will obey," if that's your answer. Don't just watch this, engage it. Let heaven see your response. Let hell hear your resolve. Let every delay be silenced by your yes. If you felt this word reach your soul, like, share, and subscribe right now. Don't miss what's coming next. There is a sequence to your awakening, and each piece matters. This is only the beginning. The angels have marked you. The scroll is being unsealed. You are God's chosen one. Long before you opened your eyes in this world, a conversation took place in heaven, a decision made not about your birth, but about your calling. God didn't randomly allow you to exist. He designed you with intention. In that holy dialogue, your name was spoken with purpose, your journey etched into eternity. This is not poetry. This is prophecy. You were chosen before the beginning began, not when you started praying, not when you survived that trauma, not when you gave your life to God. No. Before all of that, your destiny was sealed. Ephesians chapter 1 verse 4 declares, "For he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight." Do you understand what that means? You existed in the mind of God before the stars were born. You didn't stumble into this. You're not here trying to find meaning. Meaning found you. You're a walking revelation of what God had in mind for this generation. You were sent here as a response, an answer, a divine interruption. You are God's strategy for this hour. That's why your journey has felt so different, because you're not from here. You came through this world, but your origin is higher. The day you were chosen wasn't loud. No trumpets, no applause, but the moment was real, sacred, eternal. Though you don't remember it, your spirit does. That's why you've never fit in. Why normal never satisfied you, why comfort made you restless. You carry the memory of the moment when the Almighty said, "That one. Yes, that one. Send them. Mark them. They are mine." This is why your birth attracted warfare. The enemy doesn't fight what isn't a threat, and you are a living threat to darkness. From the moment you arrived, hell has tracked your steps. But what Satan couldn't comprehend is this: the same God who chose you also sealed you. You've been sealed for glory, preserved for purpose. Isaiah chapter 49 verse 1 states, "Before I was born, the Lord called me. From my mother's womb, he has spoken my name." You weren't simply born into a family. You were injected into the earth as an agent of light. You didn't just show up, you were sent. Your presence is not a mistake, your battles, not random, your life, prophetic. Have you ever wondered why your childhood was so hard? Why people rejected you before they even knew you? Why the enemy started early, trying to damage your identity, making you feel like you weren't enough? That wasn't just life. That was warfare hell, trying to block what heaven was birthing. But the call of God is not fragile. It doesn't evaporate when attacked. It gets stronger, sharper, more focused. Even in your darkest hour, the call remained. Even when you didn't believe in yourself, God never stopped believing in his choice. He never changed his mind about you. You may have made mistakes, you may have wandered, but the call is still alive. Romans chapter 11 verse 29 confirms, "For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable." Heaven hasn't canceled you. Grace is still chasing you, mercy still waiting, because once chosen, always marked. You've always known it deep down in the private places of your soul. You felt it, a pull, a pressure, a whisper. Sometimes it came as restlessness, sometimes as divine dissatisfaction, other times as unbearable spiritual hunger. But it was always there, quietly reminding you, you are more than this. You've never been comfortable in shallow waters. You've longed for depth. That's not pride, that's purpose. Your spirit was forged in divine fire, made for something bigger, something holy, something costly. And the cost is real, because being chosen doesn't just mean being blessed, it means being set apart. There are things you can't do, places you can't go, people you can't follow, not because you're better, but because you're different. You've been marked for consecration. When others can blend in, you stand out. When others can compromise, you feel the sting of conviction. Why? Because you carry weight, you carry heaven's yes. When you try to ignore the call, nothing works. Success feels empty, distractions lose flavor. You can't enjoy what others celebrate because your DNA is different. Your soul has tasted the eternal, and nothing else satisfies. You were never meant to be entertained by what you were sent to overthrow. God has been patient with you, not passive, because he knows what's inside you. He knows what he placed in your bones. And now he's calling it forth, not gently, not softly, but with authority. The time for delay is over. The clock of heaven is ticking, and your instructions are unlocking. You were chosen not just to believe, but to become. You are not called to observe revival. You are called to spark it. You are not called to admire freedom. You are called to announce it. You are not called to echo what others say. You are called to release what heaven is whispering. Chosen one, hear this. Your life is not random. Your trials not wasted. Your purpose not small. You carry something ancient, something holy, something fierce. And now heaven is demanding its return. You must arise, awaken, and remember who you were before the world told you who to be. The angels have been watching, waiting, warring, because your moment is tied to more than just you. Others are connected to your obedience. Generations are depending on your yes. You are not an island, you are a blueprint. What you activate will break chains in others. This is not pressure, this is honor. God trusted you with this assignment, not because you're perfect, but because you're willing. The willing always find the way, always walk with power. Chosen before birth, marked before time, sent with a scroll, surrounded by angels, covered by grace, fueled by fire. This is who you are. You've felt it, haven't you? The heaviness, no one else could explain, the invisible pressure pressing against your chest in silent moments. The storms that hit your life when nothing outward seemed wrong. What you've survived, chosen one, was not just life, it was war. The unseen kind fought in spirit realms, targeting only those with divine assignments. Some of your worst battles didn't have visible enemies, no one to blame, no face to confront. That's because your warfare was never natural. It was spiritual. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 clarifies, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against spiritual wickedness in high places." You weren't just attacked, you were targeted because you carry something the enemy fears. And what's more, you survived. You made it. You're still here, waking up bruised, but breathing broken, but still burning. That's not luck, that's God. That's evidence that what's inside you is greater than anything that came against you. The enemy tried to steal your joy, corrupt your mind, damage your voice, but he failed because you are marked. There were nights when you cried yourself to sleep, not even sure why, mornings when you woke up, numb, silent wars in your soul that no one could see. People thought you were fine, but heaven knew you were in battle. Through it all, the angels didn't leave your side. They surrounded your bed, stood guard at your door. What was at stake wasn't just your peace, it was your destiny. Psalm chapter 34 verse 7 states, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them." That's you. Even when you felt abandoned, heaven was present. You weren't alone. You've never been alone. You just couldn't see the reinforcements shielding you. You've walked through darkness so thick it should have swallowed you whole. Depression, rejection, confusion, isolation. You've been through spiritual tunnels that made you question if you'd ever see light again. But the light was never gone. It was inside you. You carried it even when you couldn't feel it. Every time you were pushed to your limits, it was a test, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. God was proving to darkness that you are unbreakable, that you are chosen, that no matter what was thrown at you, abandonment, betrayal, addiction, temptation, you would rise. You always rise. What the devil didn't account for is this: every attack deepened your discernment, every battle sharpened your spirit, every blow awakened your authority. You are not the same person you were before the war. You've been made dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. That's why the warfare increased, because your threat level did too. Chosen one, you've been trained in silence, prepared in pain, molded in midnight. Now the heavens are preparing to announce you. Those who thought you were finished are about to watch you flourish. Those who dismissed you are about to see you walk in dominion, because what tried to bury you didn't know you were a seed. Romans chapter 8 verse 37 reminds, "In all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." You didn't just survive, you've overcome. You're not coming out empty-handed. You're coming out with oil, wisdom, fire in your eyes, and a sword in your mouth. It was all part of the training. The betrayal trained your heart to hear God's voice above man's. The depression taught your soul how to hold on to light. The rejection taught you to stand alone with heaven as your audience. The breakdowns became breakthroughs in disguise. Every why me moment was really heaven saying, "Because I trust you." You were never just fighting for your life. You were fighting for your legacy, for your bloodline, for every soul connected to your yes, for every chained one, waiting for you to rise and unlock the next door. You were fighting for them too. That's why you couldn't quit. Now that the smoke is clearing, you can feel it, the shift. The weight is lifting, instructions, downloading new clarity, breaking forth. You're seeing visions, dreaming again, hearing God louder. It's not a phase. It's a transition. The war trained you for this moment. So now, chosen one, I ask you, can you recognize yourself in the mirror of your pain? Can you see how the fire didn't consume you but refined you? Can you look at your scars and realize they're badges of spiritual rank? If this resonates, comment the number 777 below. 7 is the number of completion, and 777 triples the promise. Your warfare is transitioning into wisdom, your pain into purpose, your battle scars into blueprints. No one knows how close you came to giving up, but heaven knows. Heaven has honored your endurance. You are no longer just a survivor. You are a strategist, someone who carries authority to teach others how to war, how to stand, how to rise. Don't hide what you've been through. Don't minimize your warfare. It's your testimony. Revelation chapter 12 verse 11 declares, "They overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony." That means your scars speak your battles, count your pain preaches. This is why you're still here, not because you're strong, but because you're chosen. Chosen ones don't break, they build. They war in silence and emerge in glory, carrying divine secrets. And you, beloved, are carrying them now. You've passed tests you didn't even know were happening, survived attacks designed to destroy your calling. Now the heavens are declaring, "It is time." Rise, warrior. Rise, torchbearer. The war was never about destroying you, it was about revealing you. Comment, "I'm chosen. I am marked. I am rising as a declaration." The enemy planned it all with precision. Every betrayal, every delay, every internal breakdown was not clumsy. It was strategic. Hell's agenda against your life was crafted not because of who you were in the moment, but because of who you were becoming. The enemy doesn't attack based on your current condition, he attacks based on your potential. You must understand what you went through wasn't just opposition. It was opposition with intel. Demonic forces knew you were marked before you figured it out. They knew you were dangerous long before you discovered your own voice. That's why the attacks were surgical, why your identity was targeted, why your mind felt like a battlefield. But listen closely. Hell failed. Every dark throne, every lie whispered, every plan designed to derail your future collapsed in the shadow of divine protection. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17 proclaims with eternal authority, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." The weapons formed, yes, but they did not prosper, yet it wasn't always obvious. There were times you questioned if you were being punished, times when silence from heaven felt like abandonment. But in those quiet, painful moments, the angels were still moving. Just because God was silent didn't mean he was absent. Just because you couldn't feel the warfare didn't mean you weren't being shielded. There's a reason you're still standing, not because the storms weren't real, but because the covering over your life is stronger than any storm. You didn't survive by luck. You survived by grace, the kind of grace that surrounds, sustains, and speaks even when you can't. Psalm chapter 91 verse 7 confirms, "1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you." That's not metaphor, that's spiritual truth. While others fell into traps, you were preserved. While others lost their way in darkness, your steps were ordered even when you didn't feel guided. The enemy wanted your mind shattered, wanted you so broken you'd self-destruct. But God wouldn't allow it. There were nights when your thoughts tried to turn into weapons against you, but angelic presence disarmed them. You didn't realize it, but heaven was constantly rerouting attacks, redirecting assaults, silencing voices, speaking curses into your atmosphere. Every time you should have lost your mind, you gained more discernment. Every breakdown birthed a sharper gift. Every loss opened a doorway to new authority. What the enemy meant for evil, God has been converting into strength, into testimony, into unshakable identity. It's not just that you survived the enemy's agenda, you outlived it. The plans have expired, the traps collapsed, the curses revoked. That's the power of divine timing. When heaven says it's over, it's over. When God lifts you out, there is no going back into that pit. You may not see it fully yet, but spiritually the tables have turned. You are no longer under the weight of demonic strategies, you are above them. Your prayers hit differently now. Your presence in a room shifts the air. You are not reacting to darkness anymore. You are commanding it to flee. James chapter 4 verse 7 reminds us, "Submit yourselves then to God. Resist the devil and he will flee from you." That's not just a verse. It's an assignment. The devil is fleeing from what you're stepping into. He's terrified of your awareness because now you know you were always protected. It wasn't just about surviving the attacks. It was about learning in the fire. You were trained by trouble, taught by tension, educated by spiritual pressure. Now you carry authority, not from books or titles, but from battle scars. Heaven recognizes your wounds as weapons earned in the secret place. There is an authority that only comes from surviving what others couldn't, a spiritual weight on those who've walked through warfare with nothing but a whisper from God. You carry that now. That's why demons tremble when you pray, why atmospheres shift when you speak. Your presence now disrupts plans of darkness. You're not even aware how much light pours out of you. You're not trying, and the enemy is already nervous because you have become the very thing they feared you would be awakened. There's no more room for self-doubt, no more tolerating fear masquerading as humility. You've been through too much, seen too much, endured too much to shrink. Now it's time to own what heaven has given you, boldly, authentically, with holy fire. Let the heavens record this: the attack failed. The delay didn't work, the lies didn't stick, the curses bounced off, the chosen one has risen. You have crossed the threshold where intimidation loses power, where confusion can no longer cling. You are stepping fully into divine awareness. You were never just called to survive attacks. You were called to reverse them, to return fire to war with your testimony, to disarm demonic blueprints by showing up in your full spiritual identity. That's who you are now. Let no one make you question it again. Let no voice, even your own inner critic, make you doubt the anointing you carry. The war you survived proves the weight you carry. You've been tried in the fire, and the result is something pure, something unshakable, something glorious. This is your announcement. Hell's agenda against your life has failed. You are still here, still marked, still chosen. Now you rise with clarity, knowing exactly why you had to survive. Chosen one. There's a reason the room changes when you walk in. Why conversations shift when you enter. You disrupt things. You don't carry average energy. You don't blend into the background. You carry authority. Even when you doubt yourself, the spirit realm knows who you are, and it trembles. You are what the Bible calls a disruptor, a breaker of patterns, a divine interruption in your bloodline. You carry oil not earned by years, but by fire, insight that doesn't come from study, but from surrender. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 20 proclaims, "You are my battle axe and weapon of war. For with you I will break nations in pieces. With you I will destroy kingdoms." God didn't choose you to survive. He chose you to shatter what once stood unchallenged. That's why things never worked the same for you, why you couldn't fit into systems, relationships, churches, or environments where others seemed to thrive. When you showed up, things shifted. You were born to break cycles, not blend into them. Your presence disrupts generational curses. Your voice unsettles demonic strongholds. Your prayers don't echo, they pierce. Even when you didn't realize it, you were walking with the weight of heaven's authority. Your yes is not casual, it's costly. Every time you obey, something in the spirit breaks open. Every time you worship, something ancient starts shaking. You are the one hell hoped would stay silent, but you're speaking now, waking up now, standing in your mantle. Heaven is backing every word that comes from your surrendered mouth. Isaiah chapter 55 verse 11 confirms, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire." There are some of you who have walked into rooms and felt tension, felt eyes shift, felt energies resist you. It wasn't paranoia. It was resistance. Your presence convicts environments where darkness once rested comfortably. You disrupt slumbering spirits, call out passivity, rattle strongholds just by being awake. That's why relationships became hard. Why you were often the first to forgive, the first to apologize, the first to walk away from toxicity, not because you're weak, but because you're chosen. Chosen ones carry heaven's burden to bring order, healing, and justice even when it costs them comfort. The battles you fought in silence. God saw them. The decisions you made in private that honored God but cost you opportunities. Heaven recorded them. Now comes your reward, You didn't compromise when you could have conformed, didn't stay silent when speaking was costly, didn't abandon your mantle even when it felt heavy. For that, the heavens are preparing to reward you openly. Matthew chapter 6 verse 6 states, "Your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Get ready for open reward. Public restoration, visible favor, not because you demanded it, but because you endured the hidden place. But here's the tension: disruptors don't get applause at first. They get opposition, resistance, silence. But make no mistake, heaven sees it all. Your labor has not been in vain. Your obedience not unnoticed. Your yes echoing across generations. This isn't just about your life. It's about your bloodline. You're carrying keys that your ancestors prayed for but never held. You are breaking curses that tormented your family for decades, shifting patterns so the next generation can walk in freedom. That's why it's been heavy, because you are not just living for yourself, if this word is confirming what your spirit has long suspected. Take a moment now and connect deeper. Don't just scroll past. Sow into the word you just received, if you feel led. Like this message. Share it so others can rise into their calling. And subscribe to stay locked into this divine frequency. If this word has blessed you and you feel stirred to support the movement, consider making a gift to keep the message flowing to those who need it most. Not everyone is called to be a disruptor, but you are, and disruptors are needed now more than ever. You are not here to please people. You are here to please God. You are not here to fit in. You are here to ignite. You are heaven's matchstick, Earth's reminder that light still exists, and you're only just beginning. So don't back down now. You've come too far, endured too much to shrink. The enemy fears a disruptor in full agreement with God. Right now, heaven is watching, waiting to see what you'll do with this moment. Will you rise? Will you step forward, fully aware of the fire you carry? Will you own the mantle God has placed on your shoulders, not with arrogance, but with holy confidence, because if you will, nothing will ever be the same. Chosen one, there's a reason you've spent so many seasons hidden, so many moments where it felt like life passed you by, like your gifts were overlooked, your heart misunderstood, your presence forgotten. But listen, God didn't hide you to harm you. He hid you to prepare you. You weren't buried, you were planted. There is a difference. Burial is for the dead, but planting is for the destined. Every moment you thought was punishment was really preparation. Every season of silence was God crafting strength. Every delay was divine timing, not denial. You were in the forge. The quiet was your training ground. Luke chapter 1 verse 80 speaks of John the Baptist. And the child grew and became strong in spirit, and he lived in the wilderness until he appeared publicly to Israel. That's you, growing in the wilderness, becoming strong in spirit while no one saw, no one praised, no one clapped, because God knew what he was building. He needed you away from noise, distractions, performance, and people-pleasing. He needed to detox your soul from needing applause, because what you carry cannot be filtered through approval. It has to come straight from the throne room. You weren't overlooked. You were shielded from counterfeits who would have drained you, from platforms not ready for your weight, from premature exposure that would have cost your purity. You were kept, beloved, hidden in the cleft of the rock, not forgotten, but guarded. Some of you wondered why doors shut after you prayed for them to open, why opportunities fell through right when you thought breakthrough had arrived. It wasn't sabotage, it was divine interception. Open doors can become traps if you walk through them without God's timing. Isaiah chapter 49 verse 2 says, "In the shadow of his hand, he hid me. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver." You are that arrow, sharpened, balanced, anointed, waiting for the release, waiting for the divine draw of God's bowstring. Don't despise the seasons of invisibility. Don't curse the wilderness. It's where prophets are born, where kings are forged, where the called become commissioned. David wasn't crowned in the palace. He was found in the field tending sheep while heaven whispered destiny. You've questioned your worth in silence, doubted your call in obscurity. But God has never doubted his choice. His hand has been on you the whole time, teaching you, training you, breaking things in you that would have broken you later. Yes, it's felt long, yes. The isolation has been brutal, but chosen vessels are shaped in solitude. They are purged of pride, refined by stillness, formed by fire. The weight you carry now came from what you survived in silence. You've learned to hear God without a mic, to stand without an audience, to pray without a worship team, to believe when nothing looked like what was prophesied. That kind of faith terrifies the enemy because it's real, forged, pure. Your hidden season is holy, sacred, essential, heaven's sacred laboratory. The fact that you're still standing, still seeking, still hoping means you passed tests you didn't even know were happening. Now the shadow is shifting, light breaking through, the seal lifting. You will not be hidden forever. There is an appointed time, a moment of emergence, but God refuses to release you before you are ready, because the weight of your calling will crush you if you skip the forge. Habakkuk. Chapter 2, verse 3 is your confirmation, though it linger. Wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. You are not behind. You are right on heaven's clock, on God's schedule. Every moment has been ordered with precision. So breathe. Rest in the fact that your hiding has been holy. Let peace flood your soul. You didn't miss it, didn't fail. You've been preserved. When God pulls you from the shadows, nothing will be able to stop your rise. This next season won't look like the last. The obscurity is giving way to authority, the silence to sound, the hiddenness to heaven's release. You will be seen, not for show, but for service. You will be known, not by man, but by heaven's signature on your life. Chosen one. Your name is still on heaven's list, your destiny intact, your scroll unrolling. The one who hid you is the same one who will reveal you when the time is holy. If you feel this, comment, I'm still standing. Let all of hell hear that you're not broken, not bitter, not buried. You're becoming. There is a reason the first place the enemy always attacked was your mind. Before he touched your finances, before he touched your relationships, he aimed for your identity. If he could convince you to forget who you are, he wouldn't have to worry about what you're called to do from the beginning. It has been his tactic to cloud perception, distort self-worth, scatter truth. He knew he couldn't erase God's plan, so he tried to erase your confidence in it. He whispered lies in the dark, making you question your value, your gifts, even your sanity. But beneath the noise, the truth never changed. You are who God says you are. No failure, no label, no rejection can alter what he has spoken over you. Romans chapter 8 verse 16 declares, "The Spirit himself testifies with our spirit that we are God's children." That inner witness never left you, even when doubt screamed louder than faith. That still, small voice kept repeating the truth: you are chosen. The reason the identity assault was so relentless is because everything flows from identity. If the enemy could get you to think like a slave, you'd never walk like a son. If he could get you to see yourself as common, you'd never reach for the sacred. So he came early, through trauma, through voices of authority that wounded instead of affirmed, through culture, comparison, and shame. Yet despite it all, something inside you refused to die. A flicker of remembrance, a sacred defiance that said, "This is not all I am." That fire, even when low, never extinguished. That's not your strength. It's your seal. God preserved your identity even when you didn't know how to. That's why the healing of your mind has become such a crucial part of your journey. Until your perception aligns with God's truth, your feet won't walk in the fullness He designed for you. Proverbs chapter 23 verse 7 says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." The enemy knew that if he could shape your thoughts, he could cage your destiny. But the chains are breaking now. You are remembering, not inventing something new, but returning to something ancient, something sacred. You are reconnecting with the you that existed before trauma taught you fear, before rejection planted lies, before religion confused performance with intimacy. You are being reintroduced to your true self, the one God knew before you ever failed. This return is not passive, it's war. You are reclaiming territory in your own mind. Every lie you uproot is an act of deliverance. Every truth you speak is a hammer to the chains. You are tearing down strongholds, not just for you, but for every person who watches you become whole. In Corinthians chapter 10 verses 4 to 5 states, "The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ." That's what you're doing now. Capturing thoughts, rejecting lies, replacing fear with truth, rewriting the script the enemy tried to write over your soul. You've spent years questioning why you felt too much or not enough. The enemy thrived in that confusion, wanting you neutralized, so focused on your flaws that you'd never step into your authority. But clarity is coming now. You're starting to see. And what you're seeing is holy. You were never meant to be invisible. Never meant to apologize for your fire. Never meant to shrink to make others comfortable. The way you love deeply, sense atmospheres, discern things others miss, that's on purpose. Divine design. You are heaven's contradiction to the world's assumptions. You carry the fragrance of another world. A prophetic mirror showing others what wholeness can look like. That's why hell came after your mind. Because your healed identity will awaken healing in others. This is not the season to be unsure. This is the time to anchor your name in what God has said. Stop repeating old scripts. Stop entertaining voices that don't match heaven's report. You are not damaged, not behind, not unworthy. You are redeemed, restored, anointed. Isaiah chapter 62 verse 2 speaks to your restoration. You will be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow. That name is being spoken now in the Spirit. Heaven is calling you what you've always been, even when you forgot. Your story is far from over. Every page the enemy tried to black out is being rewritten with glory. Every chapter marked by pain is being redeemed with purpose. You are not the lies you believed, not the mistakes you made. You are the result of grace that refused to let go. So walk differently now. Think differently. Speak differently. Because you are returning to who you've always been. Once identity is restored, destiny unfolds without resistance. You are not becoming something new. You are remembering who you were before the battle began. There's something stirring deep inside you that you can't always explain. A sense that you're not walking alone. A knowing that things around you hold more meaning than they seem. You've seen numbers repeating. Dreamed dreams that felt more like visions. Sensed moments in time aligning with divine accuracy that startled your logical mind. This isn't coincidence. It's heaven's code. A prophetic language woven into your days, designed not to confuse but to awaken. It's been happening for years. Subtle nudges, divine choices, glimpses into eternity hidden inside ordinary hours. You've always felt it. That sense of more, that sacred pull towards something beyond explanation. Joel chapter 2 verse 28 reveals the pattern. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. What you've been experiencing isn't fantasy. It's prophecy in motion. There have been moments when your spirit knew what your mind couldn't process. You walked into rooms and sensed unseen tension, felt led to pray for people whose names you barely knew, woke up from dreams drenched in meaning, carrying emotion that lingered all day. God has always spoken through symbols, numbers, patterns, and prophetic impressions. Now those signals are intensifying because you are not just someone who hears occasionally. You are someone who carries a code, a divine sensitivity, an ability to read the spiritual atmosphere and respond with clarity. Even the way you see time is shifting. You're noticing divine appointments, perfect timing, encounters that feel scripted from heaven. This is part of the prophetic code. God is fine-tuning your discernment, sharpening your inner hearing, amplifying your ability to interpret what others ignore. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14 says, "The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of God, but considers them foolishness. But the spiritual person discerns all things." That's you. Your discernment is growing, not by choice, but by calling. Yet the weight of this gift hasn't always felt like a blessing. There are days when it feels like too much. You feel things others don't. Sense burdens in the atmosphere. Pick up on lies, deceptions, spiritual turbulence, and it can feel overwhelming. But God isn't trying to crush you. He's training you. This gift isn't meant to paralyze you. It's meant to position you. You're not meant to carry everything you sense, just to steward it. You are being taught how to navigate your spiritual radar without drowning in the noise, how to honor what you feel without being ruled by it. The prophetic code in you needs refinement. That's why God has you in cycles of quiet, periods of distance from certain people. He's clearing out the static so your spirit can hear Him with precision. Where you're going. Vague impressions won't be enough. You'll need clarity. The signs will continue. The numbers will speak. The dream will multiply. But they're not just for your intrigue. They're for your instruction. They're heaven's tools to direct your path, align your heart, and prepare you for assignments that can't be navigated with logic alone. You've felt misunderstood when you've tried to explain what you sense. People have dismissed it, called it deep, weird, too much. But God didn't wire you to fit their understanding. He wired you to function under His revelation. Do not tone it down. Do not apologize for your knowing. This is part of your design. You were never meant to see only in the natural. You were built to perceive beyond the veil. As the days grow darker, your clarity will become light for others. You will interpret dreams, decode signs, help the lost find direction, not through advice, but through prophetic precision. This is the part of your calling that won't always come with applause. It's not public, it's priestly. It's not flashy, it's faithful. Heaven sees it. Every dream you journal, every prompting you obey, every midnight prayer that wasn't on a stage but still shook the spirit realm. You are an interpreter, a discerner, a watchman, and God is trusting you with heaven's blueprints. Keep pressing in, keep listening. The prophetic code isn't finished unlocking. There are layers you haven't yet accessed, realms of understanding still sealed to casual seekers, but you are not casual. You are called. Those who are called walk where others refuse to tread. Daniel chapter 2 verse 22 says, "He reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what lies in darkness. And light dwells with Him." That is your inheritance. To walk in the revelation of things hidden. To bring light into darkness others can't explain. So when the numbers repeat, when the dreams disturb, when the coincidences align too perfectly, don't brush them off. Ask heaven, "What are you saying?" And wait, because you are not guessing anymore. You are receiving. What the world calls strange, God calls sacred. Chosen one, Let's talk about the part of your journey most people never saw. The pain. The kind that pierced so deeply it left no visible scar, but altered everything inside you. The heartbreak, betrayal, breakdowns you endured in silence, not because you were weak, but because there was no safe place to fall apart. What you didn't realize then is this: your pain was never random. It was prophetic, a holy validation stamped into your story. Not to disqualify you, but to qualify you. God allowed you to walk through what broke others, not as punishment, but as preparation. Psalm chapter 34, verse 18 reminds us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." You weren't being destroyed, you were being drawn closer. Every tear watered the roots of your calling. Every silent scream became incense before the throne of God. The pain didn't cancel your purpose, it confirmed it. Only the chosen endure the kind of agony you walked through and still come out with their worship intact. Only the marked carry grief like glory, wearing scars like medals earned in spiritual battle. You didn't just survive trauma, you transformed through it. There were moments when people thought you were fine, smiling, showing up, functioning. But inside, you were breaking. What they couldn't see was that every fracture made more room for God's glory to pour in. You were being emptied of what couldn't go with you into your next dimension. Persecution purified, rejection refined your identity, loneliness deepened your dependency on God. These weren't obstacles, they were holy altars, each one sacred, each one sharpening your awareness of heaven. Romans chapter 5 verses 3-4 states, "We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character. Hope." That's your testimony in one verse. The suffering you thought would end you is now the soil where hope is growing wild. Don't let the enemy convince you that the pain was wasted. Nothing in your story has been meaningless. Every hardship has heaven's fingerprint on it. God trusted you with affliction. That alone should tell you how strong your spirit truly is. Others saw your fall, but they never saw your rise. They saw your mess, but not the miracle growing underneath. You were never meant to stay in the pit. The pain was a signal that elevation was next. The darkness wasn't your destination. It was your delivery room. You've birthed things in private that no one knows about. Deep truths, heavy revelations, songs, words, visions, instructions. They came in the form of pain but emerged as power. You didn't go through hell just to cry about it. You went through hell to carry keys out of it. You now have access to realms that only the broken reach. Your intercession hits different. Your worship cuts deeper. Your prayers carry authority because they were born in fire. You learned to prophesy through tears, to believe even when your faith was fractured. And now your voice shakes realms because your story carries weight. Don't sanitize your story. Don't edit the agony out of your testimony. People don't need perfection, they need truth. The truth is, you've suffered, cried, doubted, but never gave up. That's why you're dangerous now. Pain gave you a level of boldness that comfort never could. You don't flinch anymore. Don't beg for acceptance. Aren't moved by noise because you've already survived worse than their opinions. God took what tried to bury you and made it the foundation of your mantle. The heaviness you carry is holy. The sorrow you feel when others suffer isn't sensitivity. It's your anointing reacting, your spirit remembering its assignment. There's a new kind of fire in you, one that doesn't come from hype or applause, but from the quiet resolve of someone who's been in the valley and still believes God is good. Someone who's lost much but carries more now than ever. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 17 speaks directly to your soul. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Your troubles weren't empty. They've been producing glory, not temporary success, but eternal reward. That's why the pressure intensified before your breakthrough. Why the warfare came hardest right before clarity. Because the enemy saw what was being birthed in your spirit and he panicked, but he lost. You made it. Now you carry something no demon can imitate, no platform can give. Authentic, pain-forged authority. If this word just confirmed what you already knew deep inside, type 404 in the comments right now. That number isn't just symbolic, it's prophetic. 444 signifies divine establishment, angelic presence, and alignment. It's God's way of saying, I saw it all, and I'm building from the ashes. The pain was not punishment, it was prophecy. You're not here in spite of the pain. You're here because of it. Chosen one. You need to understand this. The instructions about to unfold in your life are not coming from man. They are not born from motivational videos or online advice. What is being released over you is divine, sacred. What I call heaven's technology. Coded revelation embedded into your spirit, downloaded straight from the eternal realm. You've already felt it. Sudden bursts of insight, clarity in the stillness. Direction landing in your spirit without anyone telling you. That's not imagination, that's divine intel. God has been feeding you instructions from a higher realm because where you are going, logic won't be enough. You'll need downloads. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 10 says, These are the things God has revealed to us by His Spirit. The Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God. What you carry isn't shallow, it's deep, entrusted to you because heaven knows your spirit can handle the weight. God is releasing secrets now, not loud, not public, but personal, mapped into your prayer time, etched into your worship, coded into moments of silence when no one is around. These are your blueprints, and they will not come with applause but with assignments. Heaven's technology is not flashy, it's effective. The downloads don't always look dramatic, but they shift everything. One whisper from God can rewire your entire direction. One dream can unlock what years of effort couldn't. One moment of yielded obedience can open a lifetime of doors. These instructions require sensitivity. This is not a season for noise. You'll need stillness to fast from distractions. Because when heaven is speaking, the wise learn to listen. You are being pulled into alignment, calibrated like an instrument tuned for heaven's frequency. Exodus chapter 25 verse 40 gives a glimpse of how detailed God is. See that you make them according to the pattern shown you on the mountain. God gave Moses precise instructions, not opinions, not suggestions, but patterns. In heaven's technology, patterns matter, sequences matter, obedience matters. This is the time when your spirit will begin to know things before they happen. People will speak, and you'll discern what they're not saying. You'll look at situations and see layers others miss. You'll walk into rooms and know why you were sent there. Don't second guess it. Don't explain it away. That's the Holy Spirit activating your inner radar. The spiritual blueprint unfolding. You've been faithful with little, and now heaven is giving you access to much. Luke chapter 16 verse 10 reminds us, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. You've passed that test, and now the gates are opening, not for status, not for comfort, but for kingdom strategy. God isn't just raising up worshipers, He's raising up builders. You don't just feel atmospheres, you rebuild them. You don't just receive revelation, you act on it. That's why these divine downloads are being entrusted to you. There are systems to be restructured, ministries to be revived, blueprints for businesses that aren't just profitable but prophetic. You are being handed divine architecture, and your obedience will construct what others only dream of. Don't be intimidated by what you're being shown. The vision is big because the backing is bigger. You will not build this alone. You'll be resourced, surrounded, strengthened. If the revelation came from God, the provision will come too. Isaiah chapter 46 verse 10 reminds us, I make known the end from the beginning. My purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please. God isn't reacting to circumstances. He's revealing what he already established. If this word is stirring your spirit, you know this isn't about hype. It's about heaven's instructions. Let's be real, messages like these require faithful stewardship. If you've been blessed, if you've sensed God speaking through this, consider sowing into it. A seed in good ground always yields supernatural return. You're not giving to a man. You're investing in the mission, in the message. Keep this voice echoing across the earth. Be sure to like this message. Share it with someone who carries fire. And subscribe so you don't miss what heaven is releasing next. There are more blueprints coming. More divine patterns waiting to be revealed. This isn't just a message. It's a manual. And you, chosen one, are being trusted to carry it out. Watch for the signs. Listen in the stillness. Obey in the unknown. Heaven is releasing divine technology, and it's landing in you. Obedience is no longer optional. Chosen one, you've reached a threshold in the spirit where the next move must be deliberate. The delay of yesterday can no longer bleed into today. What heaven is requiring of you in this hour is not partial surrender or delayed agreement. It is total alignment. You've heard the whispers, felt the tension. That holy discomfort in your soul hasn't been confusion. It's been a signal, a sacred tug urging you toward a movement. God is not just suggesting your next step, he is commanding it. This is where many hesitate, because the next instruction won't always feel logical or be validated by popular opinion. But obedience doesn't wait for consensus. It moves on conviction. What you're sensing now isn't imagination, it's invitation. You don't need more confirmations. You've already received enough signs to know what needs to be done. The door you're afraid to knock on is already unlocked. The conversation you've delayed is tied to someone else's breakthrough. The dream you've archived is screaming to be resurrected. James chapter 1 verse 22 gives it straight. Be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. Hearing without obeying creates spiritual stagnation. Obedience is how revelation becomes reality. You've grown through the wilderness, survived the fire, but now the fire must become fuel. You've wept in private. Now heaven asks you to move in public. You've carried the instruction in your heart. Now you must release it with your life. Don't let fear dress itself as wisdom. What seems risky in the natural is often required in the spirit. There is someone waiting on the other side of your obedience. Your yes isn't just for you. It's a lifeline to others. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. And in this hour, disobedience doesn't just cost time, it can cost alignment. You're not one decision away from delay. You're one rebellion away from disconnection. This is the weight of being marked, the tension of being chosen. You don't get to move casually anymore. Your steps are ordered, your days strategic. Your decisions impact destinies beyond your own. Yes, obedience will cost you. Comfort, reputation, maybe relationships, but what you gain is infinitely greater presence. Power, protection, divine positioning. You've asked for clarity. God is responding with commands. You've prayed for increase. Heaven is responding with instructions. The next level doesn't come through hoping. It comes through honoring what you already know to do. Obedience is the currency of the kingdom, the only thing that truly unlocks the next. Not talent, not charisma, not influence, just obedience. God has already gone before you. What you're afraid to do, He's already prepared the way for. You're not stepping into chaos. You're stepping into completion. You're not building from scratch. You're building from prophecy. The instruction may feel small. Call someone. Forgive that person. Start that journal. Leave that environment. Speak that word. Don't underestimate it. Obedience to the small is what qualifies you for the sacred. Even Jesus, in the fullness of divine power, chose to obey the Father's will fully, immediately, completely. Philippians chapter 2 verse 8 reminds us, He humbled Himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. If the Son obeyed fully, how can we afford to treat obedience lightly? There is an unlocking waiting on your yes. The moment your spirit aligns, chains begin to break. Not just in your life, but in every life connected to you. You are a gate in the Spirit, a path others will walk. If you delay, they remain stuck. You weren't saved to stand still. You were marked to move. The anointing over your life responds to action, not intention. This is the moment, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Heaven is watching, not to judge, but to release. The scroll is open, the command given. All that remains is your response. Will you obey? Something in the Spirit is shifting, and you can feel it, even if you can't explain it. You are no longer standing still. You are standing on the threshold of divine transfer. What was once blocked is now being released. What was delayed is now being delivered. You are about to receive what only the spirit realm could prepare. Mantles, keys, weapons. A supernatural handoff is in motion. This isn't a promotion from man. It's an impartation from heaven. Elisha received Elijah's mantle not by begging for it, but by following with faithfulness. You've done the same through your endurance, obedience, quiet consistency. You've proven you're ready. And now heaven responds. The torch is being passed, the oil increasing, the access expanding. 2 Kings chapter 2 verse 13 says, He picked up the cloak that had fallen from Elijah and went back and stood on the bank of the Jordan. That's you. You've watched others carry what you've been called to, stayed close to the fire, and now the mantle is falling onto you. This transfer isn't flashy. It's not about fame, but function. Heaven isn't giving you gifts to entertain. It's handing you tools to build. You're not being called into visibility. You're being summoned into warfare. The transfer is a commissioning. The keys you're receiving represent authority, not just to enter new realms, but to unlock them for others. These keys are spiritual assignments, kingdom instructions wrapped in favor, once given. They cannot be revoked. Revelation chapter 3 verse 7 affirms, What He opens, no one can shut. And what He shuts, no one can open. With the keys come weapons, not carnal, but divine. Your prayers will hit harder. Your declarations cut deeper. Your silence shake atmospheres because what you're receiving now carries heavenly weight. You've been feeling the stir, the urgency. That's the spiritual realm aligning with this moment. Angelic presence is increasing, dreams intensifying, discernment sharpening. Why? Because your spirit is being equipped, upgraded, spiritually armored for what comes next. This is not charisma, it's capacity. You are being stretched to carry something larger than you've known. That burden in your chest is divine installation. Heaven is pouring revelation into your bones, mapping blueprints into your sleep, syncing your mind with heaven's rhythm. The transfer is also generational. You are receiving mantles not just from your leaders, but from those in your bloodline who never fulfilled theirs. You're picking up uncompleted assignments, carrying prayers they didn't see answered, walking in a harvest they sowed in tears. You've been chosen to complete what others could only begin. That's why the weight feels unfamiliar. Because you're carrying more than your name. You're carrying legacy. You'll find that things begin opening without striving. Doors respond to your presence. Atmospheres shift around your silence. That's not pride. It's the result of the transfer. Don't shrink. Don't explain it away. You've been anointed for this. But remember, mantles attract resistance. The moment you receive, you become a target. But the angels don't just deliver. They defend. You will not walk unprotected, not be unguarded. With the mantle comes the host. You are covered. Do not look to the left or right. Do not compare your portion to another's. What you're receiving is custom, tailored for your assignment, fitted for your call. Though it feels weighty, it will not crush you. It will carry you. Chosen one. This moment is irreversible. You've crossed the line of no return. The transfer is done. The keys in your spirit, the weapons in your mouth, the mantle on your shoulders. Now you must walk. Comment. I receive it. If your spirit witnesses this word, let the heavens echo your agreement. Let your mantle know it has found a vessel ready to carry it with fire and faith. You've never been just another face in the crowd. You've always been set apart, not for attention, but for assignment. Now it's becoming clear you are the firstborn flame, the one chosen to lead, to bear weight, to walk paths no one in your bloodline dared tread. You're not just breaking curses, you're establishing a new covenant, becoming the fire that lights the way for others. Being the first isn't glamorous. It's heavy. You've had to figure things out without a guide, walk through wilderness without a map, pray prayers no one taught you, but it's because you were designed to carry what others couldn't. The flame you carry isn't borrowed. It's born of fire. There are generations behind you that never saw the fulfillment of their prayers. People in your lineage who longed for freedom, clarity, peace, but couldn't access it. Now heaven has turned to you and said, it begins with this one. Isaiah chapter 58 verse 12 echoes this divine responsibility. Your people will rebuild the ancient ruins and will raise up the age-old foundations. You will be called repairer of broken walls, restorer of streets with dwellings. That's your identity in the spirit. You are not continuing a legacy. You are rebuilding one, carrying the weight of unmet destiny, unanswered prayers, untapped anointing. Yet the flame doesn't burn you. It brands you. You are marked as the one who said yes when others ran, who stood still when others fled, who dared believe that cycles could break. Being first means being misunderstood. People will question your decisions, your fire, your urgency, because you see what they can't, hear what they've been trained to ignore. You know your obedience has eternal consequences, not just personal reward. You carry vision too big for the natural eye. Speak language that makes spirits respond. Your worship is not for show. It's a weapon. Your presence breaks things. That's not ego. It's evidence of the mantle you bear. This is why you faced such resistance. Why the enemy came after your mind so early, your heart so fiercely. If he could silence the firstborn flame, he could keep the bloodline bound. But he failed. You're still here, still burning. You've learned to light your own fire in seasons of isolation. Prayed when no one understood, fasted when no one joined, declared when no one agreed. Through it all, the fire kept growing, not because of effort, but because of the election. You were chosen not to echo, but to ignite. You are not a copy. You are an original, a divine prototype meant to forge something entirely new. What's coming through you has never been seen before, not because it's strange, but because it's sacred. Sacred things are often hidden before they're revealed. You are becoming the torch in your family line, the one who breaks silence with sound, overturns shame with truth, dismantles darkness with consistent light. That's what it means to be the firstborn flame, not just to burn, but to illuminate. It's not about being perfect. It's about being faithful. You don't need to know everything to lead. You just need to stay on fire, because your heat calls out to others still cold in spirit. Your glow reminds them what's possible. Your persistence testifies that deliverance is real. You weren't anointed to impress. You were anointed to ignite. John chapter 5 verse 35 speaks of one like you. John was a lamp that burned and gave light, and you chose for a time to enjoy his light. Your assignment is not eternal popularity. It is eternal impact. You burn so others can see. Let the fire refine you, but never let it consume your joy. Stay anchored, stay humble. The higher the flame, the deeper the roots must go. Keep your ear pressed to heaven's mouth, your heart guarded from pride, your pace aligned with grace. Chosen one, you are the first, the breaker, the one marked with fire and forged in silence. The world will never be the same because you chose to carry the flame forward. There is a depth to your strength that didn't come from books or mentors. It came from the fire, not the fire of passion or excitement, but the fire of trial, pressure, unrelenting testing. You've walked through flames that didn't warm you, they stripped you, but what others called destruction, heaven called fireproofing. God wasn't trying to burn you up. He was burning off what couldn't go with you, the fear, pride, need for approval, hidden wounds. They had to be exposed and incinerated because where He's taking you. Purity matters more than platform, refinement more than recognition. 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 7 says, "These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold." That's what this has been. Refinement. You weren't being punished, you were being purified. The fire came in many forms. Disappointments that stole your breath, delays that questioned your timeline, loss that shattered your assumptions. Through it all, you stayed. You didn't run, didn't quit. You let the flames do their work. Because of that, you're still standing, not weaker, but stronger, not colder, but clearer. There is a sharpness to your discernment now, a quiet authority in your voice, a settled boldness in your presence, all forged through the flames. What the fire removed wasn't your power. It was the impurities that could have contaminated your next. It pulled out the idols you didn't know were there, the dependencies you called friendships, the habits you labeled as balance, the lies you whispered to yourself to feel safe. Fire does not lie. It reveals, exposes, purifies. You've been through moments that didn't just stretch your faith. They broke it open. You had to rebuild your belief in the dark with nothing but a whisper to cling to. But now your faith is not fragile. It's fire-tested. This is why you can walk into chaos and remain calm, why people ask for your peace but don't understand your process. They didn't see the furnace, don't know how many times you wanted to quit but couldn't because something holy kept pulling you forward. You've been tried but not consumed, touched but not tarnished. What's left now is not just the core of who you are. It's the truth of who you are. No pretense, no projections, just a purified vessel ready for glory. You no longer worship from convenience. You worship from revelation. You don't pray to get things. You pray to stay aligned. The fire shifted your priorities. You now crave holiness over hype, presence over platform, assignment over applause. There's a maturity in you now, a settled weight, a stillness that speaks louder than noise. Because when you've walked through fire, you stop fearing what others think. Stop entertaining distraction. You focus. That's what the fire gave you. Focus, and it's what will carry you forward. People often want the glory without the furnace, the anointing without the ashes. But God doesn't pour oil on what hasn't been pressed, doesn't entrust mantles to the untested. Your fire was your approval, the final preparation. You are not made of glass, not delicate, not temporary. You are fireproof. You may still feel the heat in moments, the echoes of old struggles, the phantom pain of battles past, but those aren't signs of weakness. They are reminders of what you've outlasted. Proof of grace. Zechariah chapter 13 verse 9 declares, "I will bring that group through the fire and make them pure. I will refine them like silver and test them like gold." That's been your journey. Refined, tested, proven now. When people ask why you speak with conviction, you won't have to explain. You'll simply be. When they wonder why you pray with weight, why you love deeply, while you walk with caution and courage at once. It will be the fire speaking through you. That fire will never go out because it didn't start with you. It started with heaven. You are carrying a flame sparked in eternity and proven on earth. You didn't just survive the process. You became the product and what God finishes. No man can undo. Chosen one. Your voice is no longer just a sound. It is a weapon. What once trembled with doubt now carries force. What once hesitated now cuts through the atmosphere with purpose. You've been silent long enough, withheld your roar while others shouted noise. But now, heaven is activating your voice. Not for attention, but for assignment. Your words are not ordinary. They are anointed. They don't just inform. They shift. They don't echo trends. They carry truth. Every declaration, every prayer, every spoken word from your lips has the potential to alter reality. This is not an exaggeration. It's a spiritual fact. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Now more than ever, God is summoning your tongue to speak life. Demolish lies, build and break, plant and pull down. You have been entrusted with language that aligns with heaven. The enemy tried to silence you early. That's why your voice was attacked, why you second-guessed your words, why you felt the weight of rejection every time you spoke truth in a room that preferred comfort. But you weren't wrong. You were just early. Now the timing is right. Your voice has been purified in fire. It doesn't carry ego. It carries edge. It doesn't seek validation. It speaks from vision. You've earned your authority, not through volume, but through victory. You speak differently now because you've lived what others only read. This is why you must speak. Not louder, but clearer, not to impress, but to impact. Your silence may feel safe, but it is costing someone else their freedom. Your voice carries keys. When you speak, chains break. When you pray, veils tear. When you worship, atmospheres bend. You are not here to be passive. You are here to proclaim, to tear down strongholds with truth, expose deception with discernment, declare promises that override past pain. Your voice is a trumpet in the spirit. When it sounds, heaven moves and darkness trembles. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 9 is your confirmation. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, "I have put my words in your mouth." God is not asking you to find your words. He's giving them to you. They won't always be welcomed, but they will be needed. Because truth rarely enters rooms quietly. It confronts. Your voice will not always be the most popular, but it will be the most piercing. It will go where hearts have been closed for years, cut through confusion like a blade of light. Some will resist it, others will weep because of it, but all will recognize it. This is not the time to hold back. The enemy fears your activation more than your silence. He'd rather you scroll and nod than rise and speak. But that time is over. You are now in the season of voice. Speak over your house, your bloodline, your future. Don't just think it, declare it. Angels respond to prophetic decree. Demons back off when light is spoken. This moment is not just a message. It's a mantle, a commissioning, a spiritual alert that your voice has graduated. It no longer echoes what you've heard. It releases what you've become. So take this seriously. Speak with reverence, with boldness, with fire. Because when you speak, it's not just you, it's heaven through you. If this word has resonated deeply, if it confirmed what you sensed but couldn't articulate, take a moment to act, like this message so others can discover it. Share it so your voice becomes the bridge for someone else's breakthrough, and subscribe so you don't miss what God continues to pour through this channel. If you feel stirred to go deeper, if this ministry has been a source of strength, direction, and divine interruption, consider sowing into it. Every seed makes it possible for this voice to reach further. Speak louder, build more. No amount is too small when it's planted in the right soil. Comment below. I will speak. Let hell know you've found your sound. Let heaven hear your yes. Let the earth feel the ripple of a chosen one stepping fully into their voice. Chosen one. This is it. The moment you've been sensing in the depths of your spirit without knowing how to name it. The moment when heaven releases not just affirmation, but instruction. You are not waiting anymore. You are receiving. The final instructions are being written on the walls of your heart. There's a stillness in the spirit now, not of inactivity, but of anticipation. You can feel it, that quiet weight of divine clarity. The fog is lifting, the swirl settling, the distractions silenced. Because now comes the blueprint. These aren't general ideas or vague impressions. They are detailed coordinates. Heaven is speaking with specificity. You'll begin to know not just what to do, but when, where, and with whom. The alignment will be surgical. Every piece will fall into place like prophecy fulfilling itself in real time. God doesn't leave his chosen ones to guess. He doesn't whisper destiny without providing direction. Isaiah chapter 30, verse 21 affirms, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you, saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" You've been trained for this kind of clarity. That's what the silence was for. Why you had to learn to hear God without noise, without a crowd, without constant validation. He was training your spiritual ear to recognize instruction without hesitation. What's being released to you now won't come with thunder. It will come with certainty, a peace that surpasses understanding, a conviction that won't require a second opinion. That's how you'll know it's him, when it aligns with heaven's rhythm and settles deeply into your spirit. The instructions may come gradually or suddenly, through dreams, divine encounters, scripture that leaps off the page. A single phrase someone speaks that lands like prophecy. Stay open, stay alert, because heaven is communicating through every possible channel, but these instructions will cost you. Obedience in this hour will demand decisions you can't explain to everyone. You may have to move quietly, shift boldly, disconnect abruptly, build quickly. What seems sudden to others is simply you catching up to heaven's timeline. There will be moments when the instruction feels too big for your hands. That's not intimidation, it's indication. It means you're being called into something beyond self-sufficiency, into a space where only grace can carry you. The next requires partnership with God on a level you've never known before. The blueprint being released to you has layers. It will unfold in stages. Don't try to rush it or package it for others to understand. Walk it out piece by piece, stone by stone. Your job is not to convince. It's to obey. You may not see the full picture yet, but the next step is enough. The manna will be daily, the clarity progressive, the faith tested, but the fruit will be glorious. Because what you're about to step into is legacy-level work. It's not just for you. It's for every soul connected to your obedience. Your movement will trigger motion in others. Your yes will shake systems. Your alignment will unlock atmospheres. These final instructions are not just logistical, they are prophetic assignments, carrying eternal weight. Each one is a thread in the tapestry of God's redemptive plan for your generation. That's why the enemy fought your clarity so hard, why he tried to confuse, delay, distract, depress. But clarity has won, and now the instructions come. Don't write them off when they seem small. Often the biggest breakthroughs begin with the most humble steps. A phone call, a fast, a shift in schedule, a conversation you didn't plan but can't shake. These are the portals through which heaven moves. You're entering a time when things won't just make sense. They'll make movement. You'll step out and suddenly realize you're already in it. The favor will follow obedience. The doors respond to motion. The provision meet you on the path, not before you start walking. Let your spirit absorb this truth. Heaven trusts you. That's why the instructions are being released. God doesn't give blueprints to the idle. He entrusts them to the faithful, to those tested in the furnace and proven by the fire. You are not being teased with hope. You are being commissioned with clarity. Everything up to this point has been preparation. Now the scroll is unrolling, the pages turning, the ink of heaven writing your next with precision. The final instructions have arrived. This is the moment creation has groaned for, the emergence of the ones heaven calls by name, marked by oil, forged in obedience. You, chosen one, are no longer in waiting. You are in commissioning. The release has come. The silence is over. The delay broken. The heavens have finalized your training. Now you move. You don't need another sign. You are the sign. You don't need more proof. You are walking proof of survival, of redemption, of what happens when someone refuses to quit, even when they don't understand the process. Every step you've taken has led to this sacred moment, the crowning. But this crown isn't made of gold. It's made of glory, not placed on your head by people, but by God Himself. You've been crowned with authority, with burden, with fire, not for status, but for service, not for decoration, but for deployment. Psalm chapter 8, verse 5 whispers this truth. You have made them a little lower than the angels and crowned them with glory and honor. That verse was written for moments like this, for the exact weight you now carry. You were never called to be hidden forever, never meant to remain in the cave. The cave was a classroom, the wilderness a womb. But now the time for hiding has ended. Now begins the revealing. You are not rising because of ambition. You are rising because of assignment. Every part of you feels the shift. The way your mind engages Scripture differently. The way your discernment has sharpened. The way prayer now feels like dialogue. Not just pleading, it's all confirmation. The commissioning has taken root. What was once internal is now external. Heaven has pushed you forward. Chosen one. The crown you've been given is not merely a symbol of honor. It's a summons to a higher purpose, a mantle that carries both divine favor and profound responsibility. With this elevation comes a weightier call, a demand for greater accountability in every choice you make. This crown doesn't simply lift you above the ordinary, it roots you deeply in divine purpose, anchoring your spirit to God's eternal plan. In the spiritual realm, your presence now radiates with new clarity, visible to forces both seen and unseen. The enemy takes notice, heaven rejoices, and the earth will soon feel the ripple of your obedience. There's no need to proclaim your position. Your steadfast commitment to God's will speaks louder than any announcement. Your actions, bearing fruit that endures, will testify on your behalf, and your unwavering consistency will carve a path through the wilderness. This moment isn't about seeking the spotlight or chasing fleeting recognition. It's about fulfilling the sacred function God has assigned to you. You are His answer to a world parched by spiritual drought, a vessel through which His life-giving streams flow. Don't seek validation in the applause of others. Find it in the unshakable peace that now rests upon your shoulders. A peace that confirms the mantle fits perfectly and the crown sits securely. Your heartfelt yes to God has unlocked the next wave of divine instruction, setting in motion a season of movement, revelation, and manifestation that will reshape not only your life, but the lives of those connected to your purpose. You've crossed a sacred threshold, chosen one, moving from preparation to divine activation. The trials you endured, the fires that purified you, the seasons of waiting, they were not in vain. You've been tested, refined, and sent forth with a holy mandate. No longer will you linger in readiness without release. What you carry must now come alive. God has granted you access to spiritual realms that demand your full presence, your undivided attention, and your resolute faith. Every delay that once weighed on your heart has reached its end. The authority now resting on your life will begin to draw divine provision toward you. People ordained to walk with you, resources aligned with your calling, information that illuminates your path, and opportunities that bear the mark of heaven's timing. You'll recognize these as God's handiwork, not by their grandeur or the size of the platform they offer, but by the profound sense of purpose they carry. You've outgrown the allure of hype, the temptation to chase what glitters but lacks substance. Only the gentle, steady guidance of heaven's hand can lead you now, directing your steps with precision and clarity. Chosen one, you are now a beacon, a light others will turn to for guidance, not because you sought the role, but because you've become it through your obedience. You've stepped into a divine position, shaped by years of unseen faithfulness, where your life itself becomes a testimony. You are the answer to prayers you didn't even know were lifted, prayers woven into the fabric of your bloodline, spoken by ancestors who longed for breakthrough, or whispered by strangers whose cries reached heaven. Your presence will inspire, not because you demand attention, but because your journey reflects God's transformative power. The mantle you carry is not for your glory, but for His purpose, a sacred trust to lead, restore, and rebuild where drought and despair once reigned. As you walk forward, let your steps be guided by the peace that confirms your calling, the authority that anchors your decisions, and the faith that fuels your movement. This is your moment to shine, not for applause, but to fulfill the divine assignment that bears your name.